Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, today we're going to be taking a look at some film on Von Miller. So I just seen here recently that I'm not quite sure exactly when it happened, but Von Miller just signed with the Commanders, which was a good pickup. And I was like, man, let me go look at some film and see what does Von Miller still bring to the game and what could he bring to the Commanders to make them a little bit better. So right here, we all know that one of the things that Von Miller has been notorious for is his pass rush, being able to get back there on the quarterback and those gotta-have-it situations consistently throughout his career. Obviously, most notable was with the Denver Broncos. But right here we have a gotta-have-it situation against the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, you're in the red area. So like I always say, man, whenever you get in the red area, every red area possession is a gotta-have-it. When you get down there, you want to be able to score points. And as a defense, if they get down there, we want to be able to at least hold them to a field goal. But in this situation right here, they go for it on fourth down, and Von Miller was able to put a stake into that drive with getting this crucial sack. And I mean, it just shows right here, really honestly, he did a good job at kind of really anticipating the snap for one and kind of having a step on the offensive line. He kind of had him out leveraged from get-go. Offensive lineman didn't really do too much in terms of his hands. Von Miller was able to just, knock his hands aside and be able to close the distance and be able to get the sack to get his defense off the field. All right, so right here, man, you got a fourth and forever. They in the fourth and goal. I'm assuming pre-snap penalties probably is what pushed them far back. But obviously, being on a fourth and long situation, it doesn't really help the cause whenever you're having to deal with defending Von Miller, as you can see here on this play right here. So once again, man, they get another one-on-one matchup. No chip help from a running back, no chip help from a tight end. And he pretty much just beats this offensive lineman as well. And what's crazy is that the offensive lineman actually got a lot of depth off of the line of scrimmage initially. Like, it really almost kind of like he was, kind of did a false start in a sense. But, I mean, I guess he just did a real good job at kind of timing it. He did a good job at timing it. So he actually had a lot more depth on, in terms of leverage over Von Miller. But Von Miller was still able to beat him. Also, I want you guys to notice something, too. So this is another added strength of having a defensive player, whether you're DN, defensive end, whether you're outside linebacker, they can rush the quarterback or really just have good defensive linemen that can get after the quarterback. If you notice that a lot of these plays that I'm going to show you are going to be four-man rushes. And what does that mean? So you can just rush four and drop everybody else into pass coverage now, because you don't have to worry about trying to send guys on blitzes to be able to get pressure up front. And if you can get pressure up front consistently from your front four, it makes things work so much smoother on the back end. So that's also an added strength that Von Miller brings. So on this play right here, the offensive lineman actually played this play as good as you can play it, honestly. You look at the situation down in distance, it's a 3rd and 10. Obviously, that's a gotta-have-it situation for both parties. That's a gotta-have-it for the offense. That's a gotta-have-it for the defense. Defense, we need to be able to get off the field and put offense on the field to be able to put up points, because obviously points is the name of the game. So you look at on the outside, man, number 74 actually had Von Miller blocked as good as you can have him blocked on that play. But it's one of those things that I always talk about is the high effort. I broke down film on TJ Watt, and I was just talking about how he has that high effort motor to where it's just like the only when he stops is when the play is either made or whenever the whistle is blown. And Von Miller does a good job at showing that same tendency in terms of being able to fight through the offensive lineman and being blocked. Granted, it do like he kind of did a hands to a face right there. But it like that offensive lineman actually did it to him first. So to me, that's an even out situation right there. But like I said, he does a good job at continuously working, and being able to get in position and be able to make a play on Patrick Mahomes. And if y'all watch my videos consistently, one of the things I always talk about is what can you do on your own, right? What can you do in terms, I call it playing off script. What can you do when the things don't go as planned, right? Obviously, when you're practicing and you're preparing, you're not anticipating that this offensive lineman is actually going to do a good job at blocking me, right? So what happens when he does the good job at blocking you? Do you just get defeated and say, okay, he got me that play, or do you continually fight through and still try to make a play on the ball? And that's exactly what he did right here with him being initially blocked. He just kept fighting and was able to get back there and get a sack. So this play right here is for everybody that says, oh, Von Miller's washed. Oh, he's not the same. Obviously, he's probably not as effective, or he's not going to be able to play up to the standard of which we know him to play of. And obviously, because we age, right? Father time it catches up to everybody, right? So the things that and the level he was able to play at, he probably can't still play at that level. But let's not get that misconstrued with that he's not effective still. right? And even for me, I was saying that he would be used more so as a guy, as a pass rusher, maybe on those third downs, second downs, fourth downs, when we know that it's a passing situation. But this play right here shows that he can still be effective in the run as well. He does a good job. Obviously, they got a tight end matched up on him one-on-one. I think that's Higbee. That ain't Higbee. Higbee climbed to the second level to go block number 31. But you don't really want to have no tight end blocking no guy like Von Miller. You would prefer to have an offensive lineman blocking him to try to prevent what you see from happening right here. And he just does a good job at being able to engage the blocker really and just swim, move, and just make it seem like he really made that look effortless. Like I'm talking about like it was just a walk in the park. Was able to swim, move past the off of the tight end and be able to make a play on a running back for a no gain. So right here, once again, Von Miller showcases that he's not just a third down, fourth down guy that we bring in just to be able to rush the passer. Just on the previous play, so you remember the exact same thing happened, him being able to swim, move past the blocker and being able to make a tackle on the running back. So the previous play was that they had a tight end matched up on him. And obviously I said idealistically, that's probably not what you want to do because more times than not, Von Miller's going to win that matchup. You would much prefer to get an offensive lineman on him. So on this clip right here, they actually do have an offensive lineman on him. And the exact same thing happened with having a tight end on him. I think that one of the things that kind of helped Von Miller out too is just kind of having that knack from being able to anticipate when the ball is snapped. So it kind of allows him to me so when you think about it like this, it's almost the equivalent of sending a receiver in motion and allow him to already have that momentum going into his route, right? It's the equivalent of that with being able to anticipate snaps as a defensive lineman, because if you can anticipate the snap, it's already like you already have a step over on the offensive lineman, right? So it's like with you being able to anticipate it, so you can get to a spot much quicker than he can if he's not able to anticipate it. And right here he does a good job at being able to anticipate it. But then like I said, man, being active with his hands and then being able to make a play on the running back. So right here, man, this play right here is just beautiful, man. This is just violence at its finest, man. I'm a defensive guy. I love to see a physical brand of football, and that's kind of the embodiment of this play right here. It's a got to have a situation. It's a third down. I'm not quite sure exactly what it was in terms of whether it was a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, or anything like that, but it was a third down play nevertheless. And once again, what was I speaking about early on in this video? If you can consistently rush 4 guys, right? If you can consistently rush it and get pressure, now you're able to drop everybody else back into pass coverage. So if you kind of look at this past Super Bowl with Kansas City and Philadelphia, that's one of the things that they were able to do. Philadelphia was rush 4, get pressure, and just drop everybody back into coverage. But right here, man, he just simply bull rushes the offensive lineman, completely runs over him, and is able to get a sack on Aaron Rodgers in the backfield to get the defense off the field. So right here on this play, man, he does another good job at utilizing his hands to be able to beat the offensive lineman. Now, for whatever reason, I'm kind of looking at the offensive lineman and kind of just trying to see, because I'm looking at he got eyes, it looks like kind of on number 97. So I'm not sure if he was probably expecting to try to double team number 97 and thinking that the running back would have been able to kind of pick up on Von Miller or whatever the case may be. So he kind of was just in bad position in terms of leverage, and Von Miller just really took advantage of that and was able to, kind of just swipe his hands down and be able to get there in the backfield and get a sack on the quarterback. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You remember the earlier play where he bull rushed and just kind of ran over the offensive lineman, and I was like, man, that was like a beautiful play. It was like a work of art, man. This play right here to me was just as brutal. So just look at how he puts the offensive lineman in a spin cycle, man. Like, just look at it. It kind of looks like he was gonna maybe try to bull rush him in a sense, and then he kind of just was able to spin off at the last minute. Like I say, like he kind of was finna try to bull rush. So even as an offensive lineman, you're kind of anticipating that he's gonna try to bull rush, so you get prepared for that, and he engages slightly and then just spins off. But it looks like like I say, you kind of got to have a multitude of tools in your bag. You know what I mean? Because it looks like from a leverage standpoint that the offensive lineman kind of had him. So that's why he had to be a little bit more creative with being able to try to get back there and get pressure. And if you look on the opposite side, look at the running back. So you had the running back who was on the outside shoulder of the tight end, so if he would have tried to make a move there, it would have had help with being able to keep him blocked. So what he did was, it's almost similar to a basketball player when they realize that they're coming with a double team and they spin a certain way, like if they're in the post and they see it coming and they spin a certain way to try to avoid that shot, to avoid it, to be able to get a shot. It's kind of similar to that right here. He did a good job at, being able to adjust. And once again, like I said, it goes back to what can you do on your own? What can you do when things don't go as planned? And he showcased that right there, that he has a multitude of tools in his back pocket. And then just look at how he just picked up Patrick Mahomes for a spine buster, looking like how The Rock used to do in WWF days. It looked like he finna get at any moment after he spine buster Patrick Mahomes. He about to take off the arm sleeve and hit him with a people's elbow. So right here, man, you got another situation. I think this actually was a gotta have it, if I'm not mistaken. I believe this was a third down play right here. I could be wrong. But right here, once again, the offensive lineman kind of got a good, got back good into his stance in terms of being able to try to defend Von Miller. But Von Miller did a good job at really utilizing his, to me, the height, utilizing the lack thereof of what he lacked height-wise, and was able to kind of get underneath the offensive lineman and then kind of just dip and ease around to be able to get to Mahomes. Once again, I'm not quite sure why teams wouldn't want to double team him, especially in those gotta have it situations. But then it goes back to what I was telling you guys as well. So when you think about just rushing 4 guys and being able to get pressure, you drop everybody back in pass coverage, right? Now just think about when you're pulling guys out of pass coverage to try to come and help with blocking out, whether it's an inside guy, whether it's an outside guy. So now when you're trying to stop from allowing these guys to wreck plays, you're having to pull guys out of possible pass options. And like I said, once again, ironically, this is a clip of Mahomes. If you go back to the Super Bowl, that was one of the things that hurt them in that game, with Philadelphia just being able to constantly get pressure up front or just disrupt the line of scrimmage with just 4 guys. And now they're having to pull guys. They're having to pull kills. They're having to pull the running back out of pass options to try to be able to help stay back and chip and, slow down that pass rush. So once again, man, what a way to end the video off right here, man. This is just beauty at its finest, man. So just look at the level of physicality. Like I always tell people, man, when y'all be talking about the game and today and they say, oh, the game is soft, it's not like how it once was. If you want to see a physical brand of football, film don't lie. Go watch what goes on in those trenches, and this is the level of stuff that's going on in those trenches, right? So you see, you got him matched up on Von Miller on the outside, and this is a 3rd and 8, so this is a gotta-have-it situation. Once again, whenever you gotta have it, whenever it's time to, for those gotta-have-it moments, can our guys step up more times than not? And obviously, we've seen that over the course of Von Miller's career, but then even just breaking down film. So you see, he got a one-on-one matchup where it looks like initially the running back was going to try to chip, but I think the thing was that when Von Miller, he was anticipating Von Miller to be on the outside shoulder of the offensive lineman, and where he can hit him on the hip and then release into his route. But Von Miller was on the inside shoulder when he was trying to chip him. Now, I'm not quite sure if Von Miller did that intentionally or what, but if he did, that's just high football IQ. But once again, man, the offensive lineman just was kind of sloppy with his hands. His hands was down, and obviously most defensive linemen is taught that if that offensive lineman hands is down, you put your hands in his chest and you just push him back, just like how he did here. Like I say, man, this is a 200-some pound guy, probably close to even 300-some pounds, 6 feet plus, and he's able to handle him like a rag doll and just push him back into the quarterback and was able to get the sack. So like I said, man, it's a multitude of things that Von Miller brings to a defense. He brings that pass rush aspect, obviously, in those gotta have it moments, 3rd and 8, 4th downs, when we need a play to be made. Obviously, too, he can affect it on 1st and 2nd down. Have we seen in this clip too, being able to win in his matchups in run fits and be able to make plays on the running back. So it's a multitude of things, and obviously he brings that championship pedigree. Considering his resume, he brings that to that defense as well as that level of experience. So man, I think that there was a good signing, and I think that even at his age of 36, that Von Miller is still capable of playing at a high level. So I look forward to seeing how he balances and fits into that Commanders offense. And then we have to remember too, this is Dan Quinn we're talking about. So most definitely Dan Quinn can find a lot of ways to utilize him to try to, create more opportunities on defense, to try to get takeaways and to try to keep our offense on the field to be able to put up points. But man, like I said, man, if you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that. Make sure that you got that notification bell on there where you be notified every time I upload. And I'll see y'all in the next video.